Today I'm going to bring you a top 10 video on my favorite figs after growing them in the Phoenix, Arizona area for about 5 years now. As with other videos, just a disclaimer, of course this is my personal opinion, not claiming them to be the best varieties in the world, just of what I've tried of the 80 or so varieties that I've tried in my climate. These are the ones that rise to the very top, in my opinion. In years past, I've focused on productivity and size along with taste, but here I'm really just focusing on taste at this point because I've seen the gap closed, established for 3 years or more. They're all producing very, very well. So that's not really an important criteria anymore. There aren't too many that are going to be over that 50-gram size. On average, they're around 30. Not surprisingly, Black Madeira is in my list. This is the UCB strain that I have grafted to my LSU champagne tree. The benchmark for figs produces a very rich, syrupy fig. Oftentimes the eye is sealed by honey, well in our climate, as long as you give it adequate, sunlight to grow and adequate moisture during the high heat. I found that has really improved the fruit this year overall, not just on this variety, but all varieties. Giving them that incremental drink really helps the ripening process when we're in triple digits. So Figo Preto, some will say that it's the same as Black Madeira. I do find that the leaf structure is different. You can see that this variety has pretty much all single-lobed leaves on it, whereas the Black Madeira has a mix. Fruit is nearly identical on taste. So in my opinion, if you have the Black Madeira or the Figo Preto, you don't really need the other one. You're not really going to see any kind of marked difference. So again, an exquisite tasting fig, very productive, syrupy, jammy quality. Another fig that makes the list is red Lebanese Bekaa Valley, a very productive Mount Etna type fig. These are definitely been ripening in this last month. That's what's nice about fig diversity is, you can get more of that extended fruit cycle having these different varieties. As I've mentioned in the past on this one, completely different texture than most figs. Really is more that chewy texture to it and can really dry on the tree. Packs a lot of flavor even though it's a small fig. It does provide more of that cherry note if you get it really ripe. Does well in our climate. Another top 10, and this is actually just as of this year, is the Sen Jaume Gran. This fig in the past hadn't ripened well for me. Another fig that does have an open eye, but tends to seal that eye with honey. You can see I've taken some measures here to just put tape over it in the event that it doesn't develop that honey because it does have that open eye. And I've had some issues with fig beetles this year and just wanted to definitely preserve as many figs as I could for eating. It's an extremely vigorous variety. Truly unique berry taste. Fall crop does have more of a strawberry taste to it, and the summer crop is more tropical to me. This is one that really did improve as well with more of the moisture incrementally, daily watering when it was fruiting. That really helped with the size of the fruit and also the moisture level in the fig. It really ripened well and developed that honey. Still in my top 10 is the Genovese Nero AF. Always been one of my most vigorous. It climbs, grows higher than any other variety. Lots and lots of growth, lots of figs. This is considered by many to be similar to I-258. Ironically, I've tried to grow I-258 for a number of years and just never got decent fruit off of it. This variety is very tasty. It's a rich berry flavor with good sweetness and balance. In our climate, this one will give you 3 cycles of fruit, an early crop and 2 main crops. Even when this fig has not gotten, the incremental water that it's probably like to have, even if they look dried out and taste a little dried out, it packs so much intense berry flavor in it. Bourjassotte Grise is actually another variety that closely resembles Socorro Blacks. While Bourjassotte Grise is similar, it's not the same fig, and Socorro Black is definitely a notch above. Also will give you 3 crops of fruit. You get that early crop and then 2 more main crops after that. Another fig that hits the top 10 is the Martinenca Rimada. You can see this is a striped fig, but unlike a panache tiger, as you can see on the right there, it ripens up into a maroon color. Don't really find any spoilage with this variety. This is one of those figs where you do want to let it hang as long as possible. It's going to develop more sugars the longer it hangs, and intense berry flavor on this one. Pastilliere, dwarf tree that's in ground, has from the very beginning been in my top 10. It's never disappointed me. Very, very unique fig. Almost doesn't taste like a fig. It really resembles more of a plum to me. A plum and peach. The fruit cycle on this variety tends to be shorter, so you do get more crops of fruit in the year. I believe I've already had 3 main crops off this variety. It also can set a breva crop. So highly productive, very juicy fig, and does have a closed eye on it. So another variety that makes my top 10 is not one that people would say, you know, has exotic flavors. They wouldn't consider it potentially a premium fig. What I love about this variety is it's not high maintenance. It has a closed eye on it. Of all the fig varieties I mentioned, this one will be providing you with the most fruit because it has an extremely short fruit cycle. So to go from fruit set to ripe is shorter than anything else I'm growing here. It seems like I'm constantly being able to pick figs off this tree. And certainly as you get into the fall season, this tree was the one that was giving me the figs. The others need a lot more ripening time. So very reliable, definitely very juicy, and it has a good balance of honey flavor along with berry. And the berry flavor is something in between light and intense. You know, it's more middle of the row. Not the most unique fig out there, but it's going to give you really good fruit. And does very well, not only in our climate, but in other climates as well. So that rounds out the top 10, at least in my opinion. After growing 80 plus fig varieties in a hot desert climate, I've been picking those 80 figs, poured over hundreds of different fig varieties to find ones that kind of appealed to my taste, to my climate. Of course, I do have some fig varieties that didn't rise to that top 10 level that I will still be keeping. I do feel it's about time to go ahead and cull the varieties that after so many years just haven't impressed me at this point. I feel 3 years is more than enough time for a fig to kind of show how well it's going to do in a climate. We'll be updating a fig variety list that I grow up on my channel if you're curious to see what I'm keeping.